There we have it, the 90s, the nostalgia, the technology, the grandeur.
Yeah, I actually forgot how many great franchises started up in the 90s and they're still going today.
Yes, a convincing argument, but I think even in the 90s we all knew that the best was yet to come. Well, I'd let Goose and Barjo have their say, but now I'm afraid the time has come to blow them away. When the nostalgia goggles come off, there's just no comparing the latest, the greatest gaming decade, the noughties. It was the decade that gaming finally opened up and grew up. Sure, I loved Angelina Jolie and Hackers, but that classic 95 flick was really the last gasp of the mystique of computing.
Game's over.
PCs and gaming are now part of all of our lives. In the 80s and 90s, gaming meant limitations. 8-colour graphics, 3-channel sound, floppy disks. It was hell. What the noughties brought was gaming without limits. What the noughties brought was freedom.
Through the 90s, every single gamer, I think, fantasised about this amazing open world.
Games became adult, maybe in a bad way to begin with. Eventually, I think in a good way.
Fallout 3, the Grand Theft Auto series. Yakuza series as well. You could just really just punch days into those games and lose yourself in them.
The freedom of broadband internet made rich online gaming experiences like World of Warcraft possible, a far cry from the text-only muds of my halcyon youth. Broadband also smashed the shackles that chained us to bricks and mortar stores. I mean, I no longer need to go outside to buy a game. I don't even need to get dressed. I can just stay inside in my jammies with my tea and my biscuits and my cats, and I can browse through thousands and thousands of titles online at 3 a.m. if I wanted. I mean, tried doing that in 1987.
You've cut out that middleman of having to produce a retail copy. With things being able to be downloaded, it's so much more readily accessible to a large audience.
Downloadable content means the end of scarcity. Books can be out of print, but not games. Not anymore. And my choices are no longer defined by what the big game companies think I should be buying. No matter how retro, niche or strange your tastes, there's an indie out there who's got your number.
You started to see the bedroom coder coming back into existence, and I think that was probably one of the most important things to happen to games.
Fresh little companies, whether it be 2 or 3 or a dozen people, who would just take risks and do clever, creative things.
I have to say, I was surprised to see Goose argue the merits of living in an age of ignorance. I had a ball playing Oblivion in one window with an FAQ and maps open in another, outlining all the best places to find Nirnroot. Now, thanks to an endless online encyclopedia of guides, handy tips, and user-generated resources and discoveries, I can nibble on facts from a cornucopia of content to maximize my gaming experience. Not to mention, when it comes to opinion, there are no more secrets and no more lies. Sites like Metacritic give a voice to everyday gamers, not just the critics. The truth will out. And yes, Barjo the Age of split-screen gaming was fun, but you and I have had some of our best gaming experiences online talking trash over voice chat. Add jammies, tea and cats and you've got gaming heaven.
Yeah, I see you!
Oh my god! Oh my god! This is the most exciting moment for me. I've been so alone for so long. I don't want to be alone anymore. Come to us. I love a medieval romp as much as anyone, but I don't actually want to live in the Middle Ages.
They say abandoned houses became monsters' lairs.
My point is, there is no going back. The genres of the past seem so stagnant to us now because modern hardware has made so much more possible.
Drift, just under 1,500K.
Complex, believable characters, masterful animation, and plots so involved, so complex that they even span multiple games.
Shepard, it was not a malfunction. This was a trap.
Big screen TVs, big HD flat screen TVs, I think probably more than anything opened up gaming to everybody.
I have to say, after seeing something in like 720p or 1080p for the first time, I could not go back.
Okay, everyone has those visuals. Now what are you going to do with them? How are you going to elevate yourself above the rest now? So I think that's why we're starting to see games become a lot more interesting now.
Galaga and Mass Effect are both games about fighting space invaders, but only one has the depth and nuance to hold your interest for 24 hours. And only one has FemShep.
Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you. Getting a lot of bullshit on this line.
Oh yeah, phone gaming. There are millions of games and apps, and they're cheap. Often they're free, and they're always with you.
I love mobile gaming. I love playing games on Android. I love playing games on anything you can have a game on, I will play that game.
Kind of takes away that scary element and makes gaming more accessible for people, and it provides a great place for developers to create games.
In the lift, on the bus, in the wilderness, I can be out in the middle of nowhere and playing some bubble shooter while I'm at it. And every day all this gear gets faster, better, and cheaper. When it comes to gaming, I don't want steampunk, I want Star Trek.
I suggest we arm our weapons and raise shields now in case of trouble, Captain.
Ultimately, this diversity is a very good thing. More genres, more heroes, and heroines means gaming is more inclusive than ever. Now we have a world beyond just dude-bro shooters. We have a gaming experience for everyone.
It's the most fascinating area in gaming at the moment, moving forward. Different genres are starting to be explored.
This is the era where we could first start to genuinely describe video games as an art form.
At the end of the day, well, there is no end to the evolution of video games. The noughties is better than the 80s and the 90s because each decade is better than the last. And I have a feeling that the decade we're in now will be even better still.